Well, thank goodness it's Friday. I think, thank goodness. Anyway, hope you've had a great week so far. We're reading from the Rite of Earth, the homemade Rite of Eleusis in Homemade Magic here. It's the last section of the book. Uh, I have resolved to continue reading something every morning. Things have been so chaotic here with the move and all of the confusion and everything of trying to find a new house and everything else. But still, this little time every morning sort of keeps me anchored. So I hope you don't mind. Uh, I'll probably after this come up with some other works of mine that I'll share with you every morning at this time, as long as I can, anyway. So, for the last couple days, we've been talking about this Rite of Earth uh, that for many years we included each year at the end of the series of seven rituals that we did at our lodge and at our home in Costa Mesa. And after a few years, we added this eighth rite to sort of seal off and ground the the series. As you know, the rites of Eleusis are planetary rites, and the sequence of their order is sort of a descending tree of life order, starting with Saturn, going to Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Luna. So this is the rite that we devised for Earth, or Malkuth. And we've gotten to the part of the dramatic ritual here where after the Hermes, the sort of like the stage manager, has in his prologue, which takes place inside the house or inside the citadel of Eleusis, where all the audience sits at the beginning. He sort of gives the prologue in Shakespearean manner, just telling the entire plot. So once the drama unfolds, you get caught up in it, but at least you know at the very beginning what the whole story of Persephone and Demeter is. But anyway, they've left the citadel and they've gone out to the backyard area, and we've seen the abduction of Persephone by Hades in a dramatic scene. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just scroll down a couple days here on my site, and you'll catch it all. And after she's been abducted, Demeter hears about it and starts searching for her daughter, or searching for anyone who can tell her what happened. And I guess she got wind that Helios, the sun, and the goddess Hecate know something. So she invokes Hecate, and that's what we did yesterday. And in the ceremony, the audience joins Demeter as she circumambulates this altar. It's set up like a column with a flaming bowl of alcohol on the top, and they circle 9 times around. And if you don't know why 9 is, go back a few pages or a few days, and you'll discover that that's a sacred. That's how long Demeter looked for Persephone. But they circumambulate the altar while Demeter does the invocation of Hecate, and then Hecate appears. Okay, and that's where we are right now. We're in the backyard. We've circled the altar of Hecate. We've watched Demeter invoke Hecate. And now, this is where we are. At the conclusion of the invocation, the goddess Hecate appears before the altar of Hecate. She holds a lamp in her hand. She touches Demeter softly on the cheek, then points an accusatory finger toward the corner of the yard that conceals the throne of Hades. But before they travel there, they are met by Iris and the gods of Olympus. Iris says, "Ye fruits and corn, gold rose and green vines purple born, pearl hidden sheen, trees waving in scorn of the grass between. Come forth in your chorus and chant rays of your mother and queen. Most musical moves the head of the corn. Strong glorious loves of its being are born. Dim shadows of groves of Demeter adorn. The waves and the woods of the earth, the heart of the mother forlorn." Then she turns directly to Demeter and pleads with her. You know, the gods are pleading with Demeter. Hey, stop cursing the earth. You know, you're going to kill everybody and no one will be worshiping us. Well, anyway, she turns to Demeter and pleads. "Olympus alone of earth's glory is taken for deity's throne, deep frozen, storm shaken. What glories are shown when their slumbers awaken? The avalanche thunders adown, and the gods of the gods are forsaken." Now Poseidon shows up. And Poseidon says, "Wane grows Aphrodite, and Artemis frail, Apollo less mighty, red Bacchus too pale, dark Hades grows bright, he alone may avail when the god." And then he turns to Demeter and says, "When the god and Olympus alone of earth's glories is taken, for deity's throne, deep frozen, storm shaken, what glories are shown when their slumbers awaken? The avalanche thunders adown, and the gods of the gods are forsaken." Then Apollo shows up. "Ye trees many fronded that shake to the wind, green leaves that have sounded my harp to your kind, light boughs that are rounded, grey tops that are shrined in the tears of the heaven as they fall, in the blackening storm grown blind, as mountains uplift, as an arrow in the air, ice-crowned rock cliff, snow-bosomed bare, I give you the gift of a voice most fair. Leave echo and awake, and proclaim that ye stand against death and despair." Then he turns directly to Demeter and says, "Olympus alone of earth's glories is taken for deity's throne. Deep frozen, storm shaken, what glories are shown when their slumbers awaken? The avalanche thunders adown, and the gods of the gods are forsaken." Well, we don't know whether Demeter is going to hear their or acquiesce to their pleas, but let's see. "The Misties are now led from the scene to the area outside the temple of the underworld. They are met by Cerberus, who stands in the way. Hermes throws a honey cake to distract the three-headed dog. As Cerberus chases the honey cakes, Hermes is able to reveal the scene inside the temple of the underworld. All now can see Lord Hades seated in his throne with his lovely bride." This is Persephone talking here. Now she's still as pretty as she ever was, but she's, as we found out earlier in these scenes, she's wrapped in a black shawl, and has a golden crown on her head. Ah me, no fruit for guerdon who bore the blossom's burden. There shines no sunlight toward Persephone. Ravished, O iron-eyed, from my young sister's side, torn and dragged down below the sundered sea, no joy is mine in all thy bed, and all thy sorrow shaken on my head. And Hades turns to her and says, I'm sure he's bummed out by that. He says, Goddess, cease your great lament, for I am the brother of your father and mother, and not an unfitting husband among the immortals. Zeus himself gave you to me for my bride. I am the Lord of Death, and all things return to me. As for honor, you share with me the rulership of 1/3 the world. Well, she's not going for it. She says, Cursed above the gods be thou, whose blind, unruffled brow rules the grim place of unsubstantial things. Hated to me thy face. Turn not the glance of grace. I rule unloved above the infernal kings, and only thee in all deep hell I charm in vain. Despair my royal spell. Thou mockest me with power. Thy scepter's awful dower avails me nothing. Exhortable Lord, accursed and abhorred of men, begin in hell to show thy grace. Not to a man's weak life, not to thy shuddering wife, but to the queen's unfathomable face, dread beyond sorcery and prayer, and fearful because it is so fair. Yea, from the ghastly throne unchallenged and unknown, let the fierce accents roll athwart the skies. My voice is given, my power flares forth to save the flower, broken, but plucked not by these fingers. I love the song. Be thou not mute, but turn a lucky lot towards the suit. Now Hermes, and we're all eavesdropping on this because we're with the Misties and Hermes out looking in on all of this. Hermes addresses Hades directly. Lord of Death, Father Zeus commanded me to lead glorious Persephone out of Erebus and back to the gods to appease her mother's horrible anger against the immortals. Demeter has a furious wrath and won't mingle with the gods. Instead, she sits apart from us in her fragrant temple, which is scented with incense, and she holds as her domain now the rocky citadel of Eleusis. Well, Hermes is persuasive, and Hades says, this passes all. Relent, release, depart. I yield, my power is broken and my heart riven and all my pride ruined, and me compelled to earth to lose Persephone. And then Hades offers Persephone a pomegranate, and she eats 3 seeds. Hades then says, well, be it so, old wizard. He's talking to Hermes here. Well, be it so, old wizard. By this strength thou hast availed in deepest hell at length. I grant thy prayer. Persephone is given to the sweet light and pleasant air of heaven. Even on this wise, with Hermes as a guide, up the dread steeps there followeth thee my bride. Okay, for some reason it looks like my computer battery, just like the rest of me, is low on energy. Hang on. So I'll make sure I finish this talk here. Okay, that's where we'll pick it up tomorrow with part 3. So, in other words, Persephone's on her way back to meet her mother, and we'll find out what happens tomorrow. Until then, please remember Wednesday night, next Wednesday night, is the Invoking the Blessings of Jupiter. And as it's looking, it's my own magical operation for our own situation here that you can gladly be part of. And learn how to do it yourself for your own life. Anyway, information on that is on my page. I'll repost another way you can easily do that in just a moment. So, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love and do well.